You love your partner, love your children, and I would do anything for this family. But if you're honest with yourself, you feel like everything is at its limit, right? There are days when it feels like you're just putting out fires. From the moment you wake up until the moment you finally go to bed, it's like I'm living in survival mode, just trying to manage everything without falling apart in the middle. And the worst thing is that in this rush, the connection is slipping through your fingers. The relationship that used to be partnership, exchange, even fun, has now become an agenda, demands and fatigue. The touch became a checklist. The conversation became logistics, and that sparkle in the eye disappeared. Sometimes you even ask yourself silently, are we still together or just sharing the same roof? If you've ever had this kind of thought or felt that tightness in your chest that comes without warning, take a deep breath. You're not alone. This video is for those who are trying to keep love alive even on the busiest days. Here, we will talk truthfully without magic formulas about how to restore presence, bond, and respect within the home. So before continuing, comment below one word that defines how you feel today. Could it be exhausted, fighting, hopeful? I really want to feel this atmosphere with you, I really do. Because this is the starting point for us to start rebuilding what matters. There's an image they put in our heads, and we bought it, without realizing it, that the happy couple is the one who can handle everything, who takes care of the children patiently, keeps the house in order, shines at work, makes healthy food, and ends the day cuddling on the couch. But no one counts the price one pays trying to sustain this illusion, because that, in the real world, is a silent and cruel trap. When we try to embrace all the roles without pause, without breathing, without space to fail, what remains is exhaustion. The body can handle it for a while, the mind can hold on to improvisation, but the heart, that will wait until later. And do you know what happens when we leave the emotional stuff for later? The connection weakens, touch becomes an obligation, the conversation turns into a demand. The other becomes just another to-do list item, and little by little, even those who truly love each other begin to move away. We were not made to handle everything, not like this invisible demand to always be well, always. Available, always productive, drains the joy of everyday life. And the most dangerous thing is that we start to blame ourselves for it, as if the problem was our lack of organization or lack of gratitude, when in fact the problem is excessive expectations, excess weight, and the silence around this tiredness, because a lot of people are exhausted, but they keep smiling on the outside, pretending that everything is under control, while inside they just want a minute of peace. And I want to open this space here for us to be honest, for us to recognize together that there is nothing wrong with feeling overwhelmed, that admitting it's difficult isn't failure, it's courage, and that it is possible, yes, to rebuild the bond even when we get lost along the way. So if you've ever tried to be that person who can handle everything and got lost in the process, comment below, I was once that person. Let's normalize this. Let's take away the weight of perfectionism and make space for a lighter, more truthful coexistence. Because when we start to tell the truth, we also start to heal. There's a sign that almost no one notices at the time, but that, when we look back, was always there. Do you know when conversations get shorter, more practical, colder, when you only say what is necessary, and even then in a hurry? When does a good morning become just a nod, and good night comes without a hug? This silence that slowly settles in seems harmless at first, but he is dangerous. He takes up space between you, and suddenly what was once a partnership becomes a cold coexistence. Love may still be there, but buried by tiredness, unspoken hurts, unmade gestures. And the scariest thing is when one of you just stops trying. Stop bringing things up, making affection, asking how the day was. Not because he doesn't love it anymore, but because he's exhausted, or he's gotten used to the absence. And when that happens, the house may be clean, the bills may be paid, the routine may be working, But inside, there is an emptiness growing, a space where there used to be affection now has distance. And this distance, if not seen and taken care of, becomes a crisis that seems to come out of nowhere. But it didn't come up. It was built in silence, for the small disconnections that we ignore, thinking that it is a phase, that it will pass, that it's just stress. But time doesn't solve what we don't face. And the most painful thing is to realize that many relationships end not because of a lack of love, but because of too much silence, for fear of speaking, out of pride in listening, for lack of courage to say, "I miss you," even with you here by my side. If you've ever felt this kind of silence in your home, comment below, "I already felt." You don't need to explain yourself, you don't need to justify it. Just leave that word, take a deep breath, and you know, this is already a step, because recognizing what is happening is the beginning of change. And here, we are together to rebuild, without judgment, with truth, one step at a time. Between diapers, homework, accumulated dishes, and endless meetings, keeping your relationship alive can seem like an impossible luxury. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be grand. It needs to be intentional. Small attitudes done with presence and constancy can keep the flame alive that the chaos of everyday life tries to extinguish. One of the most powerful and underrated is to create a ritual of 10 minutes a day just for the couple. No screens, no kids, no distractions, just the two of you. It could be a coffee after the children go to bed, a quick chat on the porch, or even a silent hug before bed. It's not about the duration, it's about the quality of the moment. This short but focused time communicates, even with everything going on, you still matter to me, and that has a huge impact. Another simple idea, but full of affection, is to return to the old practice of loving notes or messages. It may seem silly, but receiving a "I thought of you now" in the middle of a rush can change the tone of an entire day. A message on the mirror, a post-it in the closet, or a light message on WhatsApp remembering a good time together. These are small gestures that say a lot. I still see you, even with all this noise. And the most beautiful thing is that this creates a cycle of mutual attention. When one starts, the other naturally feels the urge to reciprocate. And this game of discreet affection reinforces the bond in the midst of chaos, because yes, connection can survive routine as long as we nurture it, even with crumbs of sincere intention. And finally, a courageous and liberating practice, the famous no set of the week. Choose together something that you will refuse, an invitation, an obligation, a commitment that steals time to protect your space. It's a no that counts as a yes to the relationship. A no to exhaustion, to overload, to automaticity. It could be skipping that school party on Saturday afternoon, or saying no to the accumulation of household chores on Sunday and simply watching a movie with your arms around each other. The important thing is that this no is conscious, agreed, and represents the priority that you still want to give each other. So tell me, which of these little things can you try this week? Comment below, 10 minutes, ticket, or not together. I want to see which of these ideas touches the hearts of those watching the most. This is one of the most silent and dangerous guilt that exists within a home. The guilt of wanting time just for the couple, wanting a break to talk, laugh, look at each other, without interruptions, without toys on the floor, without a child on your lap. Many fathers and mothers carry this weight without even realizing it. They feel selfish for thinking about themselves. They think that if they take an hour to have a coffee together, they are neglecting their children. But look, this is an emotional trap, because a couple that chooses each other, that nurtures each other, that takes care of each other, teaches what true love is, teaches affection lightly. It teaches that taking care of others is also taking care of your family. A couple who abandon themselves in the name of parenthood, who simply become managers of their routine. This teaches that to love is to erase oneself. And this sooner or later turns into chronic tiredness, irritation for no reason, and a feeling of emptiness that hurts everyone. The truth is that children don't need perfect parents nor a 100% organized house. They need real, emotionally alive adults who know how to show affection, resolve conflicts with respect, and most importantly, show that love is also a choice. That the couple continues to be a couple even after children, and that this is not selfishness, it is emotional responsibility. A couple who finds time for themselves, even if little, builds a more balanced home. And it's not about going on trips as a couple all the time or having dinner at an expensive restaurant. Sometimes you just have to lie down on the couch and watch an episode of a series with your hands clasped. It's remembering that you're not just parents, you're partners, and this partnership needs to be nurtured, because when it weakens, everything else feels the impact. So, if at any point you have felt this guilt surrounding you, this feeling that you are doing something wrong because you want to experience something beyond motherhood or fatherhood, comment below. Guilt doesn't educate. Write this down as a reminder to yourself, because when a couple takes care of each other, the family breathes, and that is the greatest gift you can give your children. A home where the love between adults remains alive, visible and true. There are people who still believe that love only flourishes in calm, that to feel real connection, you need silence, a clean house, a free schedule, everything resolved. But the reality of those who live in a family, especially with children, is different. Love, there, needs to learn to survive in the midst of dirty dishes, scattered toys, sleepless nights, and the endless rush. And do you know what the secret is? It is understanding that love is not born from what is left over. It is built in the middle of the mess, not improvised, in tiredness, in the conscious effort to continue choosing the other, even when everything seems to pull us away. And this is a powerful teaching. The perfect moment will almost never come, but the chance to create small moments of connection every day is there. Even with laundry to wash and a child crying in the background. Creating space for love doesn't mean stopping everything and leaving the scene. It means planning minimal moments within the real mess. 5 minutes of eye to eye, a real kiss before leaving the house, a note left on the mirror, a sincere compliment in the midst of chaos. Don't wait for calm to take care of your relationship, because it may not come. Wait, yes, for loopholes, for small opportunities that when added together make a difference. When we stop idealizing soap opera romance and start valuing everyday love, the one that packs your school backpack together, the one that remembers to buy your favorite bread, the one that asks, "How are you really?" then we understand that real love is built, not found. So, if you also want to start doing this, in your own way, with what you have now, comment here, love not chaos. Just that. Anyone who reads will understand. You'll know that there's someone there willing to build a true relationship, even without perfection, even without time to spare. Because deep down, what sustains a relationship are not sporadic grand gestures, but small, consistent choices. Love survives when it is a priority, even if it is just for a few minutes a day. And if you decide to take this step, know that you are not alone. There are a lot of people here trying the same thing, to love in a simple, sincere, and possible way. In the end, no one here is looking for a fairy tale. We just want to breathe in peace next to the ones we love. You want to lie down at the end of the day and know that, even between mistakes, haste, and dark circles under your eyes, there is still a partnership. Because true love doesn't require perfection. It just needs presence, intention, small choices that say, "I'm still here with you." And yes, loving. When you are exhausted is also loving, but you can't carry it alone. A relationship is not a burden for one person, it is a path for two. So if you feel that this video embraced you in some way, that it put into words something that was stuck inside, stay a little longer. Because here we talk about real coexistence without idealizations, with the mess of life and the beauty of what is possible to build even on difficult days. There is no magic formula. There is commitment. There is affection. In the midst of chaos, there is the decision, even when tired, to look at others and say, we are still worth it. And if you've come this far, it's because you still have that desire to make it work, to find new ways, to try differently, to reconnect what time and responsibilities have separated. It doesn't matter if what you have now is just 5 minutes or a simple gesture. That's a start. Love doesn't disappear all at once. He just needs care. And even when routine tries to swallow everything, it is possible to find what brought you together back then. It just needs to be real. It just needs to be for two. So, if this video spoke to your heart, and I know it spoke to many, comment here, it's still us. Write this as a pact, as a reminder, as a silent scream of someone who doesn't want to give up, and share with someone who might need to hear this too. Sometimes, a sentence, a video, a closer look is the beginning of a rapprochement. And if you've stayed with me this far, know you're not alone on this journey. We are together building real relationships with truth, with setbacks, but also with a lot of love. And that's what the world needs, of people willing to continue.